If you are considering to start locuming or you are feeling a little bit lost as a pharmacist in the UK,
watch till the end.
Hello everyone, it's Rowena here. If you haven't seen my previous video, I'm currently a pharmacist working in the UK for almost 7 years now.
Pardon my voice today because I just recovered from a cold recently, but it doesn't stop me from talking to you.
So in my previous video, I talked about how I had managed to achieve a high hourly rate as a locum pharmacist in the UK, and I thought in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what are the other pros and cons about this job, because it's not just about the money. So these are the summary of what I've realized after being full-time locuming for 2 years. If you are considering to start locuming or you are feeling a little bit lost or stagnant as a pharmacist in the UK, watch till the end because this might help you out. So let's start with the positive. I think locum pharmacy can be seen as a very ideal job because, first of all, you have the flexibility to choose where and when you want to work. You can work 2 days a week, you can work 6 days a week, it's entirely up to you. And you can also choose where you want to work. You may want to take a work holiday in a remote island in the UK for 6 months where they usually pay you quite well. I never done it before, but I've seen a lot of vacancies like that going around. With this flexibility, it comes to the second advantage of being a locum pharmacist, which is the heavily discussed work-life balance.
Nice.
I think everyone has a different opinion about work-life balance, but basically you can shape how you want your work life to be. So when I was a locum pharmacist, I pretty much only worked 3.5 days a week. And that does give me a lot of time doing what I want. And thirdly, the advantage of being a locum pharmacist is generally you will have a higher pay than a permanent position. If you are interested in checking out the tactic of earning high rate as a locum pharmacist, make sure to check this video out. And following that, I think as a locum pharmacist, you really have the opportunities to gain experience working across different types of pharmacies.
Be it slow paced, fast paced, beside a hospital, in the residential area, or in the mid of a city centre.
And I find this really helpful to me back then to help me realize what sort of setting I really like myself to be. And needing to work at different pharmacies almost every day, you also pick up the skill of adapting very quickly, because it is sort of instantly you need to fit into an existing system of a pharmacist and crack on with the day job. This is something that I always put on my CV. Besides that, I think another beauty of being a locum pharmacist is that after you finish your shift for that day and you go home, and there is kind of another story behind. You don't need to worry about the workload or any complaint the shop might have. You also don't really involve in any workplace politics as a local pharmacist, and that is something that I really enjoy myself when I was one. And last but not least, I think local pharmacists have a lot of freedom because you don't have any long-term commitment to an employer. You don't need to listen to your boss because technically you are your own boss. There's a sort of freedom where a lot of other jobs don't have. So I think they summarize the advantages of being a local pharmacist. Stay around for part 2 when I'm going to talk about the disadvantages of being a local pharmacist, because trust me, I've got quite a lot of thought on that. And in this video, we're gonna stop dreaming. Let's face the truth, this is not the best job in the world. Watch to the end and I'll explain why I've stopped locuming. One major downside as a locum pharmacist is that you don't really have a so-called job security. Locum job is very based on demand. So during some holidays, you might find there are a lot of vacancies around and you can easily get higher rate. But there's also time when the market is just saturated. For example, when a newly qualified pharmacist just came out, or generally pharmacists are not taking holidays. Especially in the case if you are very particular about certain rate you want to get, you might not always get booked in as you want. The lack of guaranteed shift and inconsistent income can definitely be stressful depending on your personal financial commitment. And secondly, paid annual leave, sick pay, maternity leave, pension contribution. You don't qualify for any of this as a local pharmacist. So for example, a permanent pharmacist go to Spain for holiday for 2 weeks, and when she come back, her salary will still be the same. But if you do the same, your salary for that 2 weeks is basically zero. So although local pharmacists do tend to have higher rate than permanent position, but you kind of need to take into account that this higher rate is basically going to pay for the days when you are not able to work. And let's be realistic, no one can work 365 days a year. I don't allow that. And thirdly, lack of routine. I see a lot of local pharmacists are like me, where they choose to wake up early in the morning or work bank holiday or Saturday or travel to remote area to get a higher rate. You might work on a day that you choose not want to work, or you might not work on the day that you choose to work. And if you do travel to a very far area, by the time you come home, it might already be 8 o'clock at night. So routine is not really a thing for locum pharmacists, unless you are someone who are quite lucky that you have a decent regular shift at a regular stores, and that might be the best of both worlds. The fourth point I'm going to talk about is isolation. So more than often, you're only in one shop for only one day. The next time you come back, it might be months later or maybe never. So you may come across work colleagues that are genuinely quite interested in talking to you and knowing you. You may also come across work colleagues that see you like a transparent clinical checker. You kind of need to know how to work alone. It happens to me before. My days is just about me, my pen, and the prescription in front of me. You may also feel isolated in terms of your personal professional development. As a local pharmacist, you are not exposed to any employer-sponsored training. It is very useful that you network with a group of other local pharmacists, that you can get support from each other. And it's also useful that you sign up for some external training yourself. Right, and the fifth point is continuity of patient care. Because some people don't really care. But if you're someone who enjoy building a meaningful rapport with your patients, then local pharmacists that travel everywhere might not be the most ideal job for you. Administrative burden. As a local pharmacist, you can sign up either as a sole trader or set yourself up for a limited company. Some local pharmacists, they do accounting themselves, and some they employ an accountant to do it for them. In any way, you probably need to record your daily expense, either daily, weekly, or monthly. And it's not a big deal. It doesn't take out too much time, but this is something that you do not need to do as a permanent role. Last but not least, the reason why I have chosen to quit locuming, and despite the high pay, is because of no career progression. And the first year being a local pharmacist was very exciting for me because I have learned a lot about different areas and see how different pharmacies work. And these are all very useful. After a while, I realized my life become very repetitive in basically chasing after high pay. And I start to wonder to myself, is this the reason that I chose to be a pharmacist? Okay, so these are just some consideration for you if you want to start locuming. Until now, I still have some friends who really enjoy locuming and think that this is like the best job in their life. So I guess it is entirely up to you because everyone have the freedom to choose what they want. So now I have moved into the primary care setting and working as a clinical pharmacist. If you don't know what a clinical pharmacist do, you can check out this video where I describe what I do in a day. If you're interested to know more, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Comment down below if you have any more information to share. If you do like my video, please give me a like button and I will see you next time. Bye!